It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
If you have ever wondered why Congress can't seem to get anything done, here's the reason. Every representative and senator in both parties spend 75% of every workday making phone calls to solicit bribes from special interests. Don't take my word for it. Today, I'll let you hear from two members of Congress in their own words talking about just how corrupt and dirty Washington, D.C. really is. The solution is passing legislation that forbids late-night TV-type huckstering when Ginzu knives were sold. Do you remember? Slice them and dice them. I can easily imagine the pitches our elected officials are throwing at potential donors trying to get their money, and more money. Just like the old Ginzu knife salesman, slice them and dice them. These congressmen and senators are out there raising money. Indeed, the solution is a bill that bans fundraising for the national political parties, while members of Congress are supposed to be on the clock working for America. The name of this potential legislation is Drain the Swamp Act of 2017. The bill was written by former member of Congress, Republican David Jolly from Florida. I have linked to a copy of the bill on our action page today, so you can read it and see how it accomplishes our admirable goal of banning members of Congress from moonlighting as telemarketers. Slice them and dice them, can you believe it? I'll explain Congressman Jolly's bill in more detail in this video, and I'll tell you how you can get involved to stop this heresy. The biggest key to draining the swamp in Washington is you. Y-O-U. You. Until you decide to take action and make a difference for your country, the status quo will continue in American politics. Every person who sees this video needs to go to our action page and speak out to Congress and force the senators and representatives to listen. Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch was just sworn in a few days ago. This is a prime example. Do you remember the Senate could have easily voted to confirm Obama's hard-left globalist nominee, Merrick Garland, over a year ago? The reason the Senate did not confirm Garland was because patriots spoke out against his nomination. We held the line. We let the GOP senators know if they wanted to stay in office, they needed to reject Garland and wait for President Trump to send them an America First nominee. Speaking out to Congress works, and that's what we are here to help you do. We're here to help you speak out to Congress and get our work done. So be sure to click the link to subscribe to this YouTube channel when it appears, or if you want, please click on the banner that appears over my head, and you can sign up for our newsletters, and we send one every day, an action newsletter that you can take action on. So now, let's get to today's subject. It really surprises people when they learn that the primary duty of a senator or a representative is to work as a telemarketer, just like those guys late at night selling Ginzu knives. There's no difference. It's called cold calling. Just like the late night TV huckster, our elected officials are calling willy-nilly potential donors and pitching them a hard sell script, just like the Ginzu knife huckster on late night TV does. Can't you hear that pitch? For $100,000, we'll do you a favor for this or that. Or maybe we'll select you to build a high-speed train just like Senator Barbara Boxer's husband got. The opportunities are endless when you got $1 trillion deficit. All that money flowing around, got to give it away someplace. Former Congressman Dave Jolly, a Republican from Florida, blew the whistle on this practice a year ago. When he was first elected to Congress, Jolly says that former House Speaker John Boehner pulled him aside and told him that his job as a freshman representative was to raise $18,000 a day for the Republican National Committee. According to Jolly, every member of Congress spends up to 30 hours a week doing one task, cold calling potential donors. They step out of the Capitol building and they walk across the street to their party headquarters, both the Democrats and the Republicans. The Republicans walk over to the Republican National Committee headquarters. The Democrats walk across the street to the Democrat National Committee headquarters. Then they file into a little room with a phone and a computer, and they spend up to 6 hours a day begging potential donors for cash. They're elected to the highest government seats in the United States of America, and what do they do for a living? What do? They end up begging for cash and not doing America's work. They're not working on the Obamacare repeal bill. If they're not working to pay for the wall on our southern border, they're begging fat cat donors like international corporations, big pharma, globalist investors like George Soros. They're begging all of them for cash. Don't take my word for it. Here's a clip of former Congressman Jolly when he blew off the lid on this scandal a few years ago. Take a look.
You can see them come and go from the call suites, both the Democratic headquarters and the Republican headquarters. And you can tell when members of Congress are missing in action, you know where they're at. Right? Look at how many members of Congress are not at hearings or are not on the floor or are hard to find.
David Jolly lost his re-election bid in 2016, partly because, he says, he spoke out against this bribery scheme in Congress, and the leadership in Congress fought hard against his re-election. A report in The Atlantic last year stated that the Republican Congressional Campaign Committee refused to provide any funding for Jolly's re-election bid because of that appearance on 60 Minutes. All that money went to his opponents. Now, why are the representatives and senators raising cash for the RNC and the DNC instead of doing their jobs? According to multiple representatives, it's because committee assignments in Congress are for sale. You got to buy them. If you want a seat on the most high-profile committees in Congress, it'll cost a senator or a Congress member $450,000 a year. That's how much representatives and senators have to pay their national parties if they want a seat on that particular committee. And you can double or triple that amount if you want to be a committee chairman. That's right. Seats on congressional committees are not decided by seniority anymore. They're not decided on experience or merit. It's all about who can raise the most money for the DNC or the RNC. The committee chairs, after all, are the ones who are called by Fox News and other media outlets when those outlets need a soundbite. That's why we need to support the Drain the Swamp Act and demand that it be adopted by Congress. Republican Congressman Ken Buck from Colorado says a system of rampant bribery is why it will be so difficult to clean up things in Washington, D.C. If you want a position of influence in Congress, you have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to the national parties. Otherwise, you'll be at the bottom of the totem pole, and none of your legislation will ever have a chance of passing. Here is Congressman Buck talking about this bribery scheme in Congress. Take a look.
But they will do anything they can to dodge tough votes. And that's why we have a deficit. And that's why we're always going to have a deficit as long as the incentives are set up the way they're set up. I have to pay to be on a committee. I have to raise the money to pay for that committee assignment. I have to go to the people that want more goodies.
Former Congressman Jolly introduced a bill back in the 114th Congress that was called the STOP Act. The bill prohibits the direct solicitation of funds by federal office holders. That means that a representative or senator cannot pick up the phone and call someone and beg them for money. They can still participate in all other fundraising activities, but this telemarketing nonsense has got to come to an immediate halt. There's a new bill in the current Congress, however, which is also called the STOP Act, but it is a completely different bill and it deals with tariffs, which is why we want to revive the old STOP Act from the previous Congress and rename it the Drain the Swamp Act. The bill then had 9 co-sponsors, 5 Republican and 4 Democrats, so there is bipartisan support for it. We have to make this subject something that is dinner table conversation. Get past this big enigma of stopping this activity and allowing the Republican or the Democrat national committees to stop funding for an incumbent simply because they oppose this procedure. You know what? We can do this. We can make a big furor nationwide about this. If you help support this campaign, I promise you that I will do my very best to make this something that is a common subject so that people can speak out about it in Congress without fear of retribution. Why? Because there's so many people speaking out about it. It should enrage everyone when they learn that their representative and their senators spend the vast majority of their on-the-clock time begging for cash, begging for bribes, doing so on the phone like a Ginzu knife salesman. This has to stop. Congress is supposed to be working for the American people and not just to pay fat cat party officials and bigwig DC advertising firms. If you want to see the swamp drained, now is the time to speak out. Go to our action page today where you can use our patent-pending state-of-the-art GEM system to send personalized letters to Congress. Nothing could be easier. Demand that the Drain the Swamp Act be revived and passed. Congress needs to get back to work for America and stop spending all its time in a call center soliciting donations. You can put an end to this if you speak out. So do so today. Speak out. Be your own action hero. Go to our action page. Bob Mallory will have instructions on how to get there on the next screen. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many blessings.
If you're on our action page on our website, use the form next to the video screen to select a program and send personal letters to Congress. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find the link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.